Hi Stampers, this is Brandy, Stampin' Up Independent Demonstrator, and I did something kind of silly today. Here it is only July, and I've already made a Christmas card. This may or may not be my Christmas cards for the year, but I'm still waiting on my big order. I'm so anxious. I can't wait to tear that box open when it finally comes. I was looking through the paper that I did have left, and I saw I had a cherry cobbler and always artichoke, and I'm like, oh, red and green, why not make a Christmas card? If you would like to join me, I am going to make this card for you. I'm going to reverse the colors and put the red on the outside and the green on the inside. Let's get started. I have a Naturals White that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, standard A2 size card. I cut down a sheet of always artichoke, 1/4 smaller than the front panel, 5 1/4 by 4, and then I took my cherry cobbler and I cut that down another 1/4 from the green. Sorry, I have a little helper in here today. He's playing with one of his toys. I apologize for the noise. The first thing I'm going to do is run my always artichoke through my Big Shot. I'm using the Labels Framelits collection. Most demonstrators count their framelits from the outside in. I do it the opposite because I figure number 1 is smaller than 2 and so forth. So I've used framelits 3 and 4. I used the smaller framelit first. I'm going to center that, just going to eyeball it, put it in the center, run it through my Big Shot to cut that out. I'm going to do something a little different with this one. I'm going to run it through an embossing folder. This one kind of looks like a Christmas flower. It is not Stampin' Up. This will be the only non-Stampin' Up product that I'm using today. See the texture? That turned out pretty cute. I'm just going to lay that there for a moment. I am now going to take the Merry Christmas sentiment from Greetings of the Season. I do not know if this will be available. I will go ahead and put the number for you on the screen to this stamp set, and you can, if you'd like to order it, you can give it a try. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I have stamped my sentiment on my Stampin' Majig clear sheet, and I want to get this centered. I'm going to use cherry cobbler ink this time. Put my T on the corner of the clear sheet, and then take that away. Ink my stamp. Put the clear block in the corner and stamp. Okay, next I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to take my cherry cobbler and use my embossing buddy. Get the static off of that. I'm going to do some embossing. I am using one of the snowflakes from Snowflake Soiree. Again, this was one of last year's Stampin' Up sets from the Christmas catalog, I believe. And I'm not sure if it's going to be available again for purchase this year. I will put the number on the screen for you, and if you'd like it, you can give it a try. Got my Versamark, and I'm just going to randomly stamp a few of this snowflake. I'm going to avoid the center because I'm going to cut that part out. Got my white embossing powder. If you have embossing powder where you don't want it, you can blow a little bit, or if you have a brush, a little paintbrush, you can wipe it all off. I'm going to be covering this part up, so I'm not worried about the little smudge. Bringing out my heat tool. This thing is fabulous with the 2 settings. One to dry your ink, and the second one is to emboss. There you go. I love that white embossing powder on the cherry cobbler. That's so pretty. Okay, I'm taking my next size framelit. I think this was number 4. I'm going to center that and run it through my Big Shot. Okay, I'm going to bring my card back in. I'm going to attach my first layer with Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to center this around my greeting. I'm going to bring in my second layer. I'm going to also put it on Stampin' Dimensionals. Center that. Okay, there's my progress so far. I'm liking this one better than the first one with the embossing, dry embossing. And the last thing I'm going to do for this card, I'm bringing in a scrap piece of the Naturals White, and I have the Ornament Keepsakes. It came in a set of 2, and I think you could, at the time, you could get the bundle with the framelits. Once again, I do not know if this will be available. I will give you the number off of the case if you would like to try and see if it is going to be available. So I've taken, this one looks kind of vintagey, like the look I'm going for on the card. I'm going to bring in my iridescent ice. Love this embossing powder. I'm going to go ahead and use my cherry cobbler ink, since you can emboss now with the inks. Stampin' Up changed the formula, and you can, I think that what it is the ink maybe stays wetter a little longer, and as long as you pour your powder right on after you've stamped, you can emboss with the new inks. I love that. I did forget to use my embossing buddy, but I believe it will be okay, because I'm going to cut this out with my framelit after I heat set it, of course. Did you see it change? Is that not the coolest thing ever? I have my framelit. I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. Love that. Bring my card in. Get my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to just tear off some of the edging. Never throw away your edges. They are usable. And I'm just going to stick that right in the corner. There you go. I hope you enjoyed my very early Christmas card tutorial. I believe my Stampin' Up order should be here Wednesday, so after that you will be getting some new stuff from me. Maybe not a Christmas card for a little while, at least a couple months. So thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can visit my Stampin' Up store 24/7, reasonstocelebrate.stampinup.net. And thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.